Oh, wow, that was a really cool intro. Hey, everyone, I'm Johnny. I met a lot of you already, but I would love to meet all of you during this trip sometime. So I will be talking and sharing 18 ways to make passive income online, including a lot of case studies. But as I was creating the slides, I realized the real value I can give isn't just sharing what has worked for me and for others, but also the mistakes I made along the way to help prevent you from making the same mistakes. So real quick, I read the 4-Hour Work Week in 2007. I'm sure everyone's read it. Who's read the 4-Hour Work Week? But I took action, but only half the action. I moved to Thailand, but I didn't actually make any money online until 2013. For the first 5 years, I worked in scuba diving as a dive master, and I trained and fought Muay Thai kickboxing. I technically made money from it, but not very much, and it wasn't worth the bruises and the broken bones for it. But in 2013, I started my first online business, which is one of my Amazon Kindle books. And by 2016, I really focused on online business. I was eating, sleeping, and just talking about entrepreneurship and business all day. You know, I would work 60, 80 hours a week, so I was so excited. And that was the year that I made more money that 1 year than my parents probably made maybe even their entire lives, which for me was really like a life changer. But after that, honestly, I got a little bit burnt out and I realized, what am I working so hard for? What else is there to life? And that's when I took a big break. Probably the last 2 or 3 years now, I haven't been working that much, and I've been mostly maintaining and living off my passive income streams, which I built in the years prior. So I'm gonna be sharing a lot of those case studies with you on what I've done, what has worked for me, and also the mistakes I made along the way. So first off, what is actually passive income? I think a lot of times we misuse this word because it just sounds like any online business is passive income, but the actual definition is money that you earn today for work that you've done prior. So things that you've done before are still generating money today. And the second part is it has to require little to no maintenance. So if you're still working 40 hours a week to maintain a source, that's active income, that's a job. If it's something that you're doing a little bit here and there, a few hours a day, maybe it's semi-passive income. And we're gonna be categorizing a lot of these streams on what they actually are. But the benefits of passive income, and one of the reasons why we chose this topic for this cruise, is having another stream of income like Johannes does, allows us to be able to pursue our hobbies, our passions, whether it's learning to play piano, building a tribe or a community, creating a foundation, like helping people in Uganda with like 22 stars, like Stella does. Whatever your passion or your hobby is, if you can't even support yourself financially, it's really hard to be able to dedicate time to be able to do that. So the reason why having streams of passive income is so important is it really allows us to pursue passions and hobbies, but also it allows us to free up more time. So on the last Nomad Cruise that I was at, Nomad Cruise 6, exactly 1 year ago, I asked people to raise their hands on like who is actively working during those, I think it was 10 or 11 days, who is not working but not earning any income, and who is still earning money while being on the cruise and not working without Wi-Fi. And one of the goals was to get everyone to raise their hand for that third category. So I want to, want you guys to start thinking about which category you're in, and hopefully by the next Nomad Cruise next year, you can be in the third category. We can still earn money while you're working on a ship like this or traveling without actively working and trading time for money. And what that's allowed me to do is be able to focus on passion projects and hobbies, things that I know are giving back to the world, but also things I really enjoy doing, things that I think there's a huge future for, and maybe it'll make money in the future, even though it doesn't make money now. Kind of like the Nomad Cruise didn't make money for the first 2 years, because Johannes had another stream of income supporting him, he was able to dedicate time and money into building something that he believed in to hopefully have a future potential where it's making enough to be self-sustainable. For me, Those are my two podcasts. I have Travel Like a Boss, which is weekly interviews with digital nomads and people I meet traveling that are making money online. And the newer podcast, Invest Like a Boss, which is about how to create and invest in financial instruments online. Hola. And it's also allowed me to focus on the conference, the Nomad Summit, which Tariq had mentioned, which is, the digital nomad conference that we host in Chiang Mai every year as well. Now we're trying it in other countries as well. And it's a way that right now, honestly, like most of these don't make any money, and none of them did for the first year or two. But because I had other income streams, I was able to focus my time and energy and financially invest in it because I knew it's something that I wanted to work on, I was passionate about. So now we know what passive income is. I'm going to show you some examples of things that have worked for me and for others. But first, I want to kind of disqualify a couple myths. A lot of times people hear, online business, passive income, and they think, it doesn't work. It's all this big lie. Nobody makes money online. There's no such thing as people earning money while traveling. Digital nomad isn't a real thing. And that's one extreme example. And hopefully by meeting people in person who have done it, that kind of gets eliminated. And that's what I like about these live conferences, like the Nomad Cruise and the Nomad Summit, is when you meet other people who have done it or are working online or traveling, you know what's possible, regardless of what comment you read on YouTube or on Reddit or on Facebook. But the other side is people who assume that just because it's called passive income or it's online income, that it's easy, that you don't have to require any work. You can just throw something up there, in a few days or a week or even overnight and start making money. And both these are myths. Neither of them are correct. In reality, it's somewhere in the middle. The definition of passive income is doing a lot of work at one point and then making money from it later. So if anything, you're working and not making any money while you're building it in the hopes of making money passively later on. And another kind of mistake a lot of people make is if you ask me today, oh, Johnny, how much do you make from your Kindle book per month? I'll tell you I make $50 more or less a month from each book. And you might think, well, that's not enough money for me to live even in Chiang Mai where it's cheap. So it's not worth my time. I'm not even going to do it. And the reason why that's a big mistake is we're not calculating the lifetime value of creating a passive income source. Ideally, a passive income source continues to pay you not only monthly now, but hopefully over the next couple of years, and some maybe even forever. So to calculate the lifetime value of a passive income source, it's pretty easy. You just figure out your time invested, the money that you had to invest to be able to create that source, and then you figure out what is the lifetime value. How much do you make from this source per month, and how long does that last? And if that total LTV, that lifetime value, is high enough, then it was worth your time. So I'm going to show you case studies and screenshots of the things I've done. I'm going to be sharing a lot of slides. So if you guys are back there by the bar, please come up closer so you can see it. There's a bunch of seats here and over here. I'm also going to be sharing these slides so you can download all of them and review them later. So don't worry too much if you can't read them. But the first is my book. Even though I only make $50 a month from the books now, I wrote those books in 2013, 6 years ago, and they continue to make $50 a month now. So the lifetime value of those books, when I add up how much I made from Kindle, from the physical printed books, as well as the PDF versions, for that first book, 12 Weeks in Thailand, Good Life on the Cheap, which was a 3-month investment of me writing the book, learning how to market it and put it online, and pretty much $20 to make the cover, and that was it. I've now made $12,000 from this one book. So the lifetime value of doing that 3 months of work 5-6 years ago was $12,000. I did this again with another book called Life Changes Quick. This is more about goal setting and my journey of becoming a digital nomad. And that book's a bit shorter. I wrote it a bit quicker. I actually wrote most of it on my first ever flight from Asia to Europe. And that book has now made me over $4,000. With Udemy, and I'm really, really glad that we're doing this talk now and not a month ago, because I've been waiting for that number to pass 19,000 for a few months now. I started creating these online courses, and the way it started was I was dating a girl in Chiang Mai, many years ago, and she was an English teacher, and she wanted to become a digital nomad, have some online income, and start traveling more. But instead of doing another source, I thought, hey, there's this new thing called Udemy. I'm not really sure if it works or not, but let's give it a shot. Maybe it works. And together, as a couple, we created a course called Small Talk Networking, How to Talk to Anyone. And that course alone has now made us each $5,000 or $6,000. And in total, with all the other courses that we made together and the courses I made on my own, I've now made over $20,000 from Udemy, even though most of those courses sell for $10 or less, because Udemy is always running these flash sales. So another reminder that even though something doesn't seem like it's worth doing because it's, you're only making a couple bucks per course, those courses I made in 2014. So 5 years later, I'm still making money from them, as long as they are of good quality things that people continue to share, continue to review highly, and continue to buy. And what's really cool is that course took us about 2 months to make. We filmed it on weekends when she wasn't working. We would just go to Pun Space, the co-working space in Thailand, and we put this together. And the lifetime value of it was actually $11,000. We just split it 50-50. But the real cool thing, and the reason I want to show this slide, is if you look at the middle, it says your promotion activity, $0. And what that means is none of those sales came through me linking it on my blog or my email list or me promoting it in any way. All the sales came from either Udemy organic, people going on udemy.com, searching for how to talk to people finding it, the affiliate program, which they've set up, they find people to promote courses on your behalf and they take a cut, or the ad program where Udemy actually spends money taking out Google and Facebook ads, promoting courses like mine that are high rated and that people like, and they take a huge cut of that. They take 75 to even 90% sometimes. But the reason why I don't mind is because I didn't have to do any of the work. I didn't have to put any of the investment in financially or time-wise to market the course, and I haven't in 5 years, yet it still continues to earn me money every single month. And in total, this course has earned me $5,500, Larissa $5,500, and in total, I've made now $20,000 in net profit from just putting these courses online. Now we're getting into things that seem like they might be more semi-passive or even active income. For my YouTube channel, I make $150 a month or so from YouTube ads. So YouTube has a really good revenue sharing model. And you might think, well, if you're not making videos, people are not gonna watch them, they're not gonna click the ads, you don't make money, so that's active income. But what I wanted to share with you is the back end of it, where my top performing ads or the videos that are making me money, and in total now I've made $6,800 from my YouTube channel, are videos that I created a long time ago. One of the ones is building an eco-friendly bamboo hut in Thailand, which was not me building it. It was me seeing someone build these cool huts out of bamboo, and I thought, this is awesome. I filmed it, and I uploaded it 7 years ago, and that video still makes me money, because it's cool. Also, 5 years ago, when we first got a Chromebook for Larissa, we were comparing it against my MacBook after using it for a few months, and it was literally us asking a friend at the co-working space to hold my phone for 9 minutes while me and her talked about what we liked about the Chromebook versus the MacBook Air. We didn't edit it, we just uploaded it, and that video still earns me money today because people like good content of people actually reviewing things. So most of these videos, including the my new $200 a month apartment in Chiang Mai video, if you look at it, I still had hair. These are really old videos, but they still make me money today because they are passive income now. And sure, if I didn't ever upload a new video at all anymore, the YouTube algorithm would probably start showing these less and less. Maybe I'll start making less and less money. But in general, it is at least semi-passive, if not completely passive, because these videos I made so long ago and they continue to make me money today. And the same with affiliate marketing. A lot of my top performing things that I've promoted or reviewed on my blog, like my backpack, it's a pack safe. And that I bought that and was prompted to make this video after I got an iPhone stolen out of my backpack traveling to South Africa. And another one is I reviewed different USB microphones because I was trying to find the best one for my podcast and my videos. And those posts and those videos and the blog posts I made now 3, 4, 5 years ago, and they continue earning me money. This is a screenshot of my Amazon dashboard, where most people's Amazon dashboard is how much money they spent. This one is my Amazon affiliate dashboard, is how much I've earned from it. So in total, I've made close to $8,000 from promoting products like the backpack or microphones or other things that I've bought and I personally use and recommend on Amazon. And I've now done this with everything that I personally use and recommend. You know, whether it's my WordPress host for my websites, and it took me a long time to find what is the best host for WordPress that's in my budget, and also for e-commerce. So I use Shopify as my e-commerce host. They're kind of like WordPress for online stores. And because I've created these tutorials and these guides and these reviews of what is, how to start an e-commerce store, what is the best software to use, and put my link in there, Shopify gives me a percentage of everyone's monthly bill, usually for the rest of their life. And in total, I've now made $16,000 from just recommending a service that I use anyways, that I would tell anyone to use with or without my link. But what's really cool is most of the clicks I get are from my email list, as well, like autoresponder, as well as a video that I made 3 years ago. So sure, it took me a whole week to set up. It took me 40 hours of work 3 years ago to set up that video, that blog post, those email autoresponders. But that continues to make me money passively, even though I'm on the ship without Wi-Fi and I'm not making a new blog post every week about how to start a store. And I took all that info that I've acquired from creating online income through affiliate marketing and through monetizing a blog and email list, and I turned that into a course. Instead of putting it on Udemy where it sells for $10, I put it on my own platform. It's actually a white label teachable platform, and I called it Income Boss. And I've filmed all those videos, and it took me a long time, to be honest. It took me 90 hours. I was actually in Ukraine when I filmed this course at a co-working space, and I just sat there every day and I just created a whole online course on how to start and monetize an online brand or blog with affiliate marketing. And that course has now made me $24,000, and it's completely passive because I filmed it 2 years ago, and it makes sales when I'm not there. It teaches people when I'm not there, and I just log in once in a while to answer questions. Now, with the next step, this is more semi-passive. And with a lot of people would argue it's completely active income. So one of my main income sources is with e-commerce. But if you take a look, the investment goes from 40 hours to now 600 plus hours. It's technically still semi-passive income because most of my sales, probably 99% of them, come while I'm sleeping. So it's not like I'm actively awake, trying to sell people furniture. People are finding the store, they're clicking ads, they're going through the funnel, they're buying something, they're paying me while I sleep, but only because I happen to be in a different time zone. I'm usually in Thailand. But the reason why it's not passive income is, first, it took a lot of time to build, set up, and grow. But also, if I don't wake up and fulfill that order, if I don't deal with the customer service, it no longer makes money. So these are sources what I would consider more semi-passive, things that can continue to go, but you are still working on. But what's really cool is by taking the money that I've earned from everything that I've done prior, as well as my semi-passive or active income sources, I've been able to invest a lot of that into things that are actually 100% passive. Now, this switches from very low financial investment. Most of the things that I've done prior to this might only cost, $100 or $1,000 or less to start, but they take a lot of time. They might take 40 hours to start. They might take hundreds of hours to start, but the financial investment was really low. Now we're switching to types of passive income where the time commitment, the time investment is very, very low. It's really just you doing self-study or reading a book to figure out what you want to invest in, but then the income payoff is really high. And what's really cool about investment income is it is the only thing that really is completely passive and forever, as long as you do it right. And I know this because a lot of big companies like Fidelity, they've done studies to see which one of their customers or their clients actually earn the most. And it's not the people logging in all the time to actively buy or make trades or sell. It's the people that either forgot they had an account or the people who have died. And it's reassuring that if you have something like an index fund, which is basically a way to buy, instead of buying individual stocks, you're buying the entire stock market. So for example, I like to invest in Vanguard total US stock market indexes, where it costs money to buy this stream of income. But what's cool is as long as you don't sell it while it's down, it'll always keep that original value, but also it's paying you dividends, it has growth and in average, it's always paid between 7 and 10%. For me, my account has paid me 8.2%. And it didn't take any time to set up. It literally took me less than 10 hours to log in, set everything up, and now I don't touch it at all. It's all automatic. And what's cool is even though it was a huge investment, it cost, I invested now over $180,000 into buying these indexes. The money I made from all my other streams of income before, running the e-commerce stores, selling the e-commerce stores, taking all that, instead of going out and buying a new car or even buying a house to live in or partying it up in Ibiza, I decided let's invest all that to create another stream of passive income. And this stream has now earned me $47,000 and continues to make me money every single month. That's like having a full-time employee in, Bielefeld working for me. So something even easier that took me even less time to set up was something called a robo-advisor. So instead of paying a traditional financial advisor, 1% or more, which ends up actually adding up to a lot of money over time, you pay a super low fee to Wealthfront or Betterment or any other online robo-advisor. And they basically buy and redistribute your investments for you in things like index funds, property and bonds, and things like that. So I've now invested $11,000 into Wealthfront, and that's now made me $3,800 so far and continues to make me money every day. With real estate, this was a huge kind of a lesson that I had to learn for myself. I was trying to figure out, okay, now that I've sold these businesses, I've bootstrapped and saved all this money because I was living in Chiang Mai and I didn't actually increase my spend by very much, even though I was making way more money. I went from living for $600 a month to spending maybe $1,000 a month, even though I was earning much, much more than that. And the rest of the money I just saved up and I bought investments with. So I was really thinking, should I buy a house or not? But I really don't want to get tied down anywhere physically. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. And I don't want to deal with having something somewhere that I need to go back to. So I discovered there's all these online funds or online ways to invest your money. And one of my favorite things was things like Fundrise. And they have a version of it in different countries. They're called different things. This one's for Americans. But basically what it is, instead of buying one house for $300,000, renting it out, dealing with the property manager, dealing with the lease and all that, or spending $30 million, which I'm sure, well, hopefully someone has, but I don't have, into buying an entire apartment building, what we do is we each put in a smaller amount, starting at $1,000, into a fund where they take that money with hundreds of thousands of other investors and they buy things like apartment buildings. And then we get a small percentage of it. And the reason why I'm so excited to do the podcast and kind of be here in 2019 is these things were not possible even 5 years ago. The reason why a lot of these funds require $30,000 or $100,000 investments is because there's so much paperwork involved that nobody wants to sell you a very small piece of a $30 million apartment building if you only have $1,000. But because everything is online now, it doesn't, they can just set it up and it doesn't matter how much you invest. It just online paperwork, so it's easy. So I've been able to put money into real estate, and now I'm a part owner in apartments in all these random cities, and I've now put in maybe $50,000, but I've gained more than $6,000 from it, and I'm still a part owner of these apartment buildings that are still retaining value and earning money every month. Something even easier is with peer-to-peer lending. And I first heard about this 5 years ago, and I was really excited because I was like, oh, this is cool. You can help people out. You can give them a small loan, even though their bank won't loan to them, and you get some interest. But the problem is if they default, you lose it. And usually people asking for loans that can't get a loan from a bank, you might not want to trust them. So I found other ones like with Peer Street, where it's collateralized peer-to-peer lending. So you loan someone $1,000, but along with 500 other people or a couple hundred other people, but it's collateralized. So now you hold the deed to their house. So if they don't pay you back, this company will take that house, foreclose it, and sell it and give you your money back. And what's really cool is it's pretty simple. It's like giving a loan. We get 7 or 8% interest. And if they don't sell it, or they don't pay it back, sell the house and we get their money back. And things like this also were not possible before because I don't want to be the one having a Oh, sorry. All right, so what's really cool is I've now put in a total of $63,000 and I've gained collecting interest $11,200. And this is so diversified over, I think, 60 different houses or apartment buildings. So instead of having all my eggs in one basket, where if that one house ends up going down or foreclosing, it's now diversified over 60 properties because I normally put $1,000, a maximum $2,000 into each deal. And again, this is only possible now because we have the technology of the internet to be able to diversify and put $1,000 in and sign everything digitally instead of having a lawyer go in and have one or two people put in 50 grand or 100 grand. Also want people to remember or to realize that I didn't put $63,000 into this in one day. I didn't put $180,000 into Vanguard in one day. I never had that much money at once. It was every time I would make $1,000 and I would think, should I buy the new iPhone? And I'm like, nah, I can wait another year. I take that $1,000 and I put it into one of these funds. And what happens is now I have that $1,000, but also that money is making me money. So I don't want anyone looking at these numbers and thinking, I can't do this. I don't have 60 grand to invest. I guarantee every single person can figure out how to not buy the next iPhone when it comes out and take that money and invest it instead. So there's a ton of ways to create passive income. I've now interviewed over 200 people on the Travel Like a Boss podcast, including a lot of people in this room and people I met on previous Nomad cruises in Chiang Mai and Bali, places while traveling. And I've asked them, how do you earn money online while traveling? And a couple of those random things are things like stock photos, videos, drone footage, music royalties, print on demand, things like t-shirts with Amazon merch and other things, Teespring, And then designers like illustrators and artists creating designs, uploading it somewhere, and people can print it on demand onto like tote bags or t-shirts, and they're selling designs. And there's things like lead generation, local SEO to doctors in real estate, even random things like people buying vending machines or ice machines back home, or like laundry mats, or even those automatic car washes or batting cages, and then having a manager to run those while they're traveling in Thailand and still making money from that passively. Things like creating a mobile app or a SaaS product and having that continue make money. Even some people that would just reskin a game like Flappy Birds into their own Flappy Storks or whatever and sell that. People make templates, create web apps, Lightroom Lightroom presets or Instagram presets. We have like Instagram influencers that have a really cool look on all their photos. And if you look in their bio, a lot of times they'll sell you the preset that they use in Photoshop or Lightroom to give that look. And that becomes passive income because every time someone buys it, they earn money even though they just created it once. Things like rental income, peer-to-peer lending, earning dividends, and even random things. Like I invest in one company called American Homeowner Preservation, which they buy foreclosed houses or people who can't afford to pay their mortgage and is about to get foreclosed. And then they give them a second chance to be able to pay off their mortgage before they get foreclosed on. So they have a chance to keep their house and work out a deal with them. And being able to invest in cool things like that, it's a win-win for everyone because the bank doesn't want to deal with it. They're just like, either pay us or get out. But these companies will work with them and say, all right, let's renegotiate terms. We have this new investor. They still want to get paid, every month, but we'll forgive the interest or whatever it is. And even other random things, like I'm invested in something called a litigation pre-settlement, which they find people who, for example, they got into an accident or something, and they're going to get paid, X amount per month for the next 3 years, but they need the money today. So what we do is we give them the money today at 8% interest or whatever it is, and they pay us back over the next 3 years. So there's all these cool things that I've never heard of that without the podcast, I probably wouldn't have discovered. So even though I love sharing this information and the podcast is free and it's for everyone, I've personally learned as much or more from interviewing these people, as when I'm sharing it as well. So here's kind of the big secret I want to leave people with. The first is, it's not easy, but it is possible. I don't want anyone walking away from this thinking like, oh, I can't do any of these because X, Y, Z. I guarantee every single thing I had mentioned is not only possible, not only has someone else done it, someone in this room has done, but also you can do it. It doesn't mean you should do it, and it doesn't mean you should do all of them, but I never want anyone here to have that excuse that, it doesn't work, or it's not worth it, or I'm not going to do it because X, Y, Z. If you don't want to do it, it's okay. Maybe it's not your priority. Maybe it's not your skill set. Maybe it's not for you right now. But things like the investment income, when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I really thought, I can't do this. I don't have any money to invest. And I didn't even think of it as, this would be great. I would like to work towards this. I just thought, this is stupid. They're wasting my time telling me about investment income because I can never get to that point. I'm here to tell you that you can get to that point, and you want that to be a goal, because as much as we hate to admit it, money makes money. And that's the way the world works. But it's possible for every single person here to get to that point. And that should be everyone's goal, whether it's to make that money so you can give it away again, or you can have enough money to support yourself or your family or your parents as they age, or to be able to create a fund or a foundation and help others. Money really is the key to having the freedom of time and location to be able to do the things you really love doing. So a couple ways to do that. First is things like putting off big purchases. If anyone's seen my laptop, it's a 2013 MacBook Air. Not because I want a 6-year-old laptop, it's because the new MacBooks are not a good value, and I've just been putting it off until the prices drop, or magically, Apple gets their shit together. and it becomes a better thing. But I've now put off that purchase for 4 years, even though I wanted a new one the last 4 years. And every year I'll take that $1,500 or the $2,000 and I'll buy an investment with it. The same, I have an iPhone 7 because I would rather take that money and invest in something that makes me money instead of just having the coolest new phone. I really want a drone, but I put that off as well because I know there's better things I can do with that $1,000 and the other $1,000 that you would spend on batteries or replacements and warranties and things like that. And even the little things like the $20 purchases here and there that I'm sure everyone spends without thinking about, either going out and having some drinks or buying new clothes, or just like the little things that we don't really think about. I guarantee you all those little things add up. And if we start making a priority and a goal to be able to take that money to invest in either time so you can create passive income streams, or money so you can invest and just buy a passive income stream, I guarantee by this time next year, everybody, and not even this time next year, by this time, next month, everyone can have some kind of passive income coming in, even if it's very small in the beginning. That should be everyone's goal. And this is something that I really would like, before the next time I see you, wherever it is in the world, to have some kind of stream of money coming in, even if it's just paying you $10 a month. That really adds up, and that's the start. But even though it sounds so cool that I've done all these different passive income streams, and I currently have probably 15 or more different streams of income coming in, honestly, it was a huge mistake for me to diversify that much. I only did it, I guess, partially out of fear that one thing would dry up or one thing wouldn't work and I didn't want to lose all my money. But second, I would just get excited to try something new. But the problem is, by having so many streams, not only are your taxes a mess at the end of the year, imagine getting like 18 different income streams and having all those tax documents you have to file, but also you're not able to mentally or physically maintain all of them. And the problem with that is, even though they all still make money, they could be making so much more if I was able to focus more time and energy on each one. So think of me as your guinea pig. I've done it, I know it works, but now instead of choosing and just doing all of them, I encourage everyone just to choose 2 or 3, whatever they are, and just start with one, because it's not beneficial financially or mentally to try so many different things. And as a good example, I was so excited that I had made $20,000 with my Udemy courses over time. And I was like, this is amazing. And I was so happy. And then in Gran Canaria, I bumped into an old friend that I haven't seen in 5 years. I met her in Chiang Mai after I launched that first course. And I had encouraged her to start herself. And she told me that she is now making $10,000 a month from her Udemy courses. And I kicked myself in the butt thinking, crap, why did I diversify so much and just jump the gun into the next fun thing or nice shiny thing when I could have just focused on that and I could have been making not 20,000 lifetime, but 10 grand a month from it. So I don't have any regrets because I can't change it anyways, but what I can do is share these experiences so you don't make the same mistakes. So what I hope everyone leaves with is knowing that all these things work. Most businesses actually work. You can't do all of them, but you can do at least one or a few of them. So if you want to find out more about me, you can subscribe to the 2 podcasts, Travel Like a Boss for interviews with other entrepreneurs, also Invest Like a Boss to learn more about investing and creating and buying streams of passive income. And if you liked talks like this, where we talk about kind of scaling up businesses, come to the Nomad Summit. Our next one is going to be in October in Cancun, Mexico, and then again next year, mid-January in Chiang Mai. So thanks so much.